Good evening, everyone. See more and more folks are joining us, but we'll go ahead and get started. We are recording this session, so we'll be able to send it out to everyone after we're done. But good evening to all of you. Thanks for joining us for our fifth State of Minds. My name is Brian Winkelbauer, and I'm the CEO of the Minds Foundation, and happy to be the facilitator of this means of communicating with our external audiences. Our goal is to continue to share what's going on at Minds and develop a broad advocacy for Minds itself. Tonight, you'll hear from Minds President Paul Johnson, Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer Kirsten Volpe, new Vice President for Student Life, Braylon Pantel, and awesome Minds student trustee, and student philanthropist, Hayden Corman. So we'll do an overview from each of the panelists, and you'll hear about many of the initiatives, programs, and projects that are underway or are in the planning stages. And you'll get a sense of how Minds is leveraging the rigor and uniqueness of the Minds education to further develop the Minds signature student experience. I think it's important to note that much of what you'll hear about would not be possible without alumni involvement and private support. And so thank you to all of you who have taken the step to give back to Minds as part of the campaign for Minds at 150. Competition is fierce for what is an increasingly smaller pool of students who are potentially Minds material, and everybody wants our incredibly intelligent and gifted students. So to stay ahead of the pack, we have to continue to distinguish ourselves as a university. So your gifts of time, talent, and treasure to Minds, regardless of the amount, have made and will continue to make the difference necessary for us to achieve our goal of being a top of mind, first choice STEM university. So thanks to all of you for giving back and for being engaged. All right, so on with the show. We have a number of questions. Thank you to those of you who sent those in advance. We will do our best to answer those either during the presentations or during the Q&A session. Otherwise, feel free to submit questions through the chat function via Zoom as you think of them throughout our hour together. And without further ado, first up, in his 8th year as the 17th president of Colorado School of Minds, a great partner and leader for the Minds community, Dr. Paul Johnson.
All right, thank you, Brian, and thank you everybody for being here tonight. It's always exciting to get a chance to brag about what's going on at Minds to all of our most loyal supporters and alums. And I've got to tell you, today was an exciting day in the Minds campus. You know, it was our fall career fair day. I think I saw Sevi on the list. He might recognize this guy in the red over here as one of his classmates come back to be a recruiter at this year's career fair. But the energy and the number of companies and the interest in Minds students as interns and full-time employees is just off the charts. I got to tell you, we have today in person maximum capacity, 210 companies on campus just for the in-person career fair. And then even after that filled up, we have like another 140 to 150 companies who also wanted to be here that are going to be using our virtual platform to connect with students in about 2 weeks. And while all that was going on, we discovered that the civil infrastructure area has so many companies interested in our students that we created even a special day for them. I think it's at the end of next week. So there's another 30 or 40 companies that are going to come just have a special day for that industry slice. And so all in all, we're looking at probably about 400 companies just within a 2-week span of time looking for our amazing students. And lot of buzz there today. Companies were extremely complimentary of our career fair. They said it's the best one they ever go to. It might be the only one they ever go to that has a masseuse room they can go to when they get tired of standing out there. But anyway, they're excited. They said it was really interesting. They said the students that they were meeting were better prepared to meet them at career fair than the students they encounter from any other school. And I think that's a fantastic thing. Of course, one of the initiatives under our Minds at 150 strategic plan has been to really complement that great technical preparation that our students get with an awesome professional preparation. And I think we're through things like our new Viejo Irvin VIP professional development program. I think we're starting to see the impact of that in our students and how they show up and how they make their impressions with everyone who comes here to interview. So just a fantastic day. It's always a lot of fun because you get to walk around and bump into current students who you don't recognize because they're all dressed up, and former students who are back, just so excited to be on campus. So great day all in all for the Oredigar community. You know, since we're talking about career fair and companies and things like that, I frequently get questions about like who's recruiting and which industries are our students going to these days. And I'd like to say, if you're interested in that kind of thing, that our career center puts out an annual report that tracks where all of our students go and everything. To make some great graphs like this one over here that shows all the industries that our students are going to, and it's pretty interesting these days that the largest industry by percentage is now the aerospace industry, and then there are chunks that are basically pretty similar size for the IT industry, civil infrastructure, and the energy industry. Those four combined are probably at least 50% of where all of our students end up these days in industry. So you can see we're much more comprehensive, less narrowly focused than maybe in the past when some of you were here. But it's just great to see all this breadth of industries coming to recruit Mind students. So that was an amazing thing today. This is the start of the 4th week of the fall semester, and 4 weeks ago we started with our newest incoming class here at Minds, which is our biggest class ever to show up. We had about I think it's 1,530 first-time students in the incoming class, and about another 150 transfer students. So collectively, the largest incoming group ever. I think every year when we take our picture of the M of the incoming class in the field, the M gets a little bit bigger because that group is getting a little bit bigger. But it was very exciting and just a tremendous class. It's about half in-state students, half out-of-state students. We've got 48 of the other 49 states represented here at Minds in this class. We have 18 countries. The most ever students, most ever women in an incoming class, most ever underrepresented students in an incoming class, and most ever first generation students in an incoming class. So we're really proud of this group. I know sometimes people think, well, gee, as the classes get bigger, somehow the quality must be affected by that. And the interesting thing is, if you look at the statistics, every year the class has gotten bigger, the average incoming GPA has gone up. And so they're getting smarter. And actually the recruiters were all commenting that today as well, particularly the ones that are alums. They said the students here today are like they all say they're way smarter than they are, but they're just really impressed with how the quality of the incoming class just keeps going up and everything. So we were very excited by the incoming class. The interesting thing is, while it's the largest ever, we actually admitted fewer students, which means that more students made Minds their first choice to come to college, which again is one of those goals in our strategic plan, to see that happening. And we certainly saw that with this incoming class. sometimes people ask, well, why, what's attracting people here to Mines? Obviously, all the same things as before: the great reputation of the institution, the beautiful location, the great community. But we also hear more and more the amount of support that they get here at Mines. They're much more confident they're going to have a good experience and they're going to graduate. The new degree programs that we have. So last year we launched a quantitative biosciences and engineering program that already has almost 180 students in it. We also launched a business engineering and management science program that has over 50 students in it already. This year, we're launching a construction engineering program to complement the civil engineering program that we have. And that is already very popular as well. Plus, at the graduate level, I think we've added over 30 new degree and certificate programs that, as well as offering quite a few of them online. So a lot of people are attracted by the portfolio that we have that they can choose from now, as well as the various modes of delivery. And of course, the other thing is, the reputation of the institution just keeps going up as well. So we continue to be ranked very, very highly in any kind of ranking system that values return on investment, right? That's where, and the success of our graduates 5 and 10 years post graduation, we do extremely well in there, as well as continuing top #1 rankings in mining metallurgy and top 10, top 5 in our traditional strength areas as well. So the institution is just really doing fantastic. For those people I know who wonder, gosh, is it going to keep getting bigger and bigger, and when are they going to stop, and all that kind of stuff? Just to kind of let you know, the way our strategic plan was designed is we were aiming for about 7,500 students at Mines. We felt that was important to be able to offer all of the, that support and all the extracurricular things outside of the classroom that support the professional development of students. We needed to be about that size. So we're about 7,300 total students now, for those of you who are keeping count. That's about 5,700 undergraduates and about 1,600 graduate students. And so we're getting close. I will say, with those students come a lot of new faculty. So we also brought in about, I think it's somewhere between 30 and 35-ish new faculty this year. They're an amazing group. I've already had other faculty comment to me that they're not sure where we found this group, but I've already just kind of impressed everybody on campus. So we are, just like our strategic plan, we want to be top of mind, first choice for students. We want to be top of mind, first choice for the faculty that we go after as well. So we're doing pretty good on that realm and everything. So in addition to hiring new faculty, we've got some new leadership here as well. So I want to take a moment and break in my talk to introduce to you our new vice president for student life. And Braylon, would you like to take a moment and tell folks a little bit about yourself and maybe what's got you excited about Mines?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. And hello for many of you who I have not yet met. I think there's a few folks on this evening that I've had a chance to connect with already. But yeah, my name is Braylon Pantel. I'm going here under my third month here at Mines, and so have really appreciated the warm welcome I have gotten from so many people here within the Mines community, certainly from my colleagues and the students, but also from many alumni and friends of Mines and in lots of different places. So thank you. And yeah, I really am conceptualizing my role and thinking about the concept of student life at Mines with this frame of the signature student experience. And for me, that really means that we are doubling down on this notion of creating a safe environment that's conducive to students learning and their success, not just during their time here at Mines, although certainly that's a big piece of it, but also really helping students sort of set up for a lifetime of success beyond Mines. And so part of that includes really thinking critically about the experiences that they're having along the way from the moment they first step foot onto campus, perhaps during orientation or even prior to that, or at our Ore Digger camp up in the mountains, but along the way through really on-point academic advisement, through relevant student supports, through their housing and residential experience, through their academic advising is certainly a kind of continual piece of that as well. And Paul mentioned the Vallejo Irvine program earlier, the VIP program for professional development. I think that's a really relevant example of this idea of setting students up not only for success at Mines, but beyond as well. And that program has really allowed us to focus on helping students gain some of those skills that they're going to need that will complement the technical skills that they're gaining in the classroom and in the lab. So things like leadership development and communication and critical problem solving, public speaking. We certainly saw students practicing and doing a pretty good job of that earlier today at the career fair, but really this idea that they're learning, goes beyond the experiences that they're having in the classroom, and that the entire community comes together to support this notion of sort of holistic student experience. And that includes engagement with folks outside of the immediate Mines community, including many of you. Certainly one of my early experiences at Mines was having an opportunity to see some alumni sharing really powerful insights with our first year students, and just sort of sitting back as an observer watching that. It was so striking how powerful those words of encouragement and sort of thoughtful challenges that the alumni were offering our current students or incoming students really kind of caught their attention and caused our students to think a little bit about all the things that they needed to kind of gather along the way to set themselves up for this sort of lifetime of success beyond Mines. And so the notion of networking is also really important to all of that. And so really looking forward to further connecting with my own Mines network and meeting many of you and thinking about how we can continue to evolve the Mines student experience in meaningful ways as we look to the future as well. And so I'll end just briefly by saying that, I'm here, I'm in the Student Center. For those who are local, would love to connect, but for those who are not local, but may have some insights or ideas or questions for me about student life and the student experience, please reach out via email. I'd be glad to set up a Zoom call or an opportunity to connect otherwise that works for you. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Braylon. I'm thinking about this sort of this year, and people go, "What's happening?" This year, and obviously the incoming class, the very strong interest in employers and in our students. I think I've seen over the last few years more and more of the alumni engagement that Braylon's been just referred to. That's another one of those initiatives within our strategic plan, was to really be the exemplar of all universities for alumni engagement, and the alumni really sort of stepped up and said, "Hey, we will take responsibility for developing the students into the future alumni for Mines." And so we have really see that taking place across all the programs on campus, and it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. And just so great for the development of our students. So anyway, as I think about, as we're going into this year, what I see is a lot of solidification of the initiatives that we started under Mines at 150. We've already talked about the professional development side of things. We've talked about some of the new programs that we've offered under there, the sort of the people that we're hiring, how we're shaping the new graduates of Mines to mold them in that same core nugget they always have been, but it's this surrounding veneer of really professional development and really understanding the big picture of things, business acumen, all those kinds of things are really starting to take place. This year, we're going to see a real, if I had to look back 12 months from now, I'm going to say this is probably the year of a lot of physical change to campus. And it's going to be pretty cool, because part of that change is associated with a lot of the programs and obviously new classrooms we put in place. But I think about the entrepreneurship and innovation program. I think that's the one that's really going to sort of stand out as the thing that really sort of visibly came into place this year. And so I thought I'd just sort of take a little bit moment and talk about that, and then I'll talk about the physical infrastructure, and after that sort of turn it over to Kirsten, because she is the guru of making all that happen. But in our entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem, it's been really cool, because while we've been waiting for the physical infrastructure to adjust, the programming has all been taking place. So the McNeil Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation has been really busy. We've got this great program called Innovate X that runs competitions for students. I'll talk about that in just a second. We've got already got programming for the Venture Center in place that has, I think it's about 20 startups already going. A third of them are student startups, a third of them are alumni startups, and a third of them are coming out of faculty labs. So we're really excited by what we're seeing there. One of the startups won a couple $100,000 prize just recently in a NASA competition. So the quality of what's coming out of that program is pretty amazing. And even within the local Golden community, they're serving as sort of an attractor for a lot of local folks who are interested in starting things up in venture community and things like that. So a couple times a month, they meet here on campus, and then they go down to the Buffalo Rose and do a lot of networking down there. So it's pretty exciting. I mentioned this Innovate X program a second ago. They run kind of design challenges and innovation challenges for students. And just last week, they ran one associated with our Global Energy Future Initiative symposium on campus. And the top winners right here, they got a $10,000 check. And that was all for like 3 weeks ago. They got a challenge. They had 2 weeks to come up with a solution to it and present to a group of judges. And the first place team got 10,000, second place team got 7,500. I think the third place team got $6,000. So those are the kinds of things going on. So students are getting pretty engaged and excited by that as well. Of course, it'll kind of like really be obvious to people when the second and third building of the physical infrastructure ecosystem happens. And so for that, I'm going to transition now over to our executive vice president in charge of everything physical here on campus, as well as all the money and pretty much everything else. Kirsten, how about telling folks about what's going to sort of wrap up today and what's going to be coming on? And just as a lead into this, it's interesting. So Braylon and I did a pizza with the president and students on campus today. And probably the first question they asked was, what new buildings are we going to be seeing? So it's like, I should have told them to watch this tonight, or brought Kirsten over. If she ate pizza, we would bring her to pizza with the president. But anyway, Kirsten, why don't you take it away?
All right. Thank you, President Johnson. And great question and great lead up. We absolutely are in the midst of multiple construction projects as well as multiple planning projects. And as President Johnson just said, the Entrepreneurship and Innovation program and initiative is so important here at Mines and for our students and our faculty. That really kicked off with McNeil Hall, which we opened about 1.5 years ago. But the exciting 2 projects that are under construction right now are the Labriola Innovation Hub, which is part of an entire complex that's focused on innovation. The hub will be the center of all hands-on teaching and hands-on learning for our students. It's coming out of the ground. You can see vertical steel and other things that are actually starting to move. Very exciting. And then the Beck Venture Center, as President Johnson mentioned, the programming is already being done in a facility that we have, but we're building them a home so all of those startups can have a place to live, to learn, to explore, and be creative. Both of those projects are up out of the ground and should be open summer 2023. So we're going to have a busy year in getting those up and completed, but that's an exciting next step. We've got a couple projects that we've put underway for renewable energy. So we've gone to a pretty significant level of introducing solar to our campus. And you'll see with some of our new projects, some additional kind of renewable energy, but we are installing solar panels all throughout campus on Steinauer Fieldhouse, Green Center. If you're down by the Marquet Stadium, you can see there's an entire parking lot with canopies of solar. And this is really expected to provide about 6% of our daily energy usage on campus. So very, very excited about that. Because we're building so much and because we're growing so much, it's time for the next parking garage. So the parking garage that we have right now has been very well utilized. So we're in the final planning stages for the next parking garage, which will go along the CTLM lot down off of 18th Street. And it will be very similar to the current parking lot with McNeil Hall, where this parking lot or parking garage will have a classroom building. So 4 stories of classrooms and other facilities for faculty. That one is anticipated to start really early part of 2023. So right after the new year. That'll be a really important infrastructure part of what we do. And as you heard President Johnson say, biggest incoming class, last year was the biggest incoming class. And as our students begin to progress through their time at Mines, you know, the entire body continues to get bigger, predominantly on the undergraduate side. So we are neck deep in planning for the next level of student housing. We have enough freshman housing to house all of our freshmen. We have a live-on requirement. We have a few exceptions that we allow students to live at home or elsewhere. But we can house all our freshmen today, as well as we house about 350 sophomores in a new apartment complex that we built about 1.5 years ago. But we're now in the mode of making sure that we have enough capacity to house all of our sophomore students, as well as to significantly increase the capacity for our upper class, our juniors, seniors, as well as our graduate students. So that both of those planning, all of that is underway right now. And we hope that in 2023, we'll be able to solidify those plans and be able to move forward. Research has grown considerably on campus with all the wonderful faculty that we've been bringing in. They're really productive, and we're seeing a lot of growth in very diverse areas of research. So we are in the midst of trying to understand what that will do to our campus and how do we address it. So we are actively working on some internal renovations to make way for some of this research growth. We're working with a fair number of partners that are quite interested in working with us and collaborating on space and providing space for the university. One in particular that we've actually been working with for several years is the USGS, where they will be the USGS Division of Minerals and Energy will be moving on the Mines campus. We actually will be building a building for them that we will be part of. We will be an active participant in the lab work and the research and in just the collaboration that will go on in that building. So very, very excited about that venture, which we're looking will kick off with construction starting in late winter, early spring. So about 6 months from now. And then we're also working with an exciting development in Golden, where the Coors Tech company is completely redoing their site. And we hope to partner with them on some space there. So a lot's going on. And one final thing is that we're doing is primarily for our employees and students is really trying to be a place where we can enhance our benefits and our family-friendly partnering with our employees and our students. So we are going to be starting a daycare center, and that will be construction should start by the end of this year. And we're really excited to be able to support our Mines community in so many different ways. So a lot going on. There's a lot more than that, but these are just the big highlights. So President Johnson, back to you.
All right, thank you, Kirsten. And that second parking garage, that's Haddon Jordan 2, right?
It is. And for one of the members that I know that's on the call today, yes, it does pay for itself.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Kirsten, and thanks for all that you and your team are doing to advance all these projects. So it's a very exciting time on the Mines campus to see these things going in, and they're things that our community are asking for. So very, very important. We're looking forward to the partnerships and everything else that's happening as a result of them. Now, since Kirsten's the money person of the group, I thought I would just sort of follow on with just a comment, because people often wonder about, where our revenues come from, and sometimes people are a little shocked to hear that as a public institution, depending on how you calculate the number, it's 10% or less of our discretionary money comes from the state. So we really are kind of a private institution with a little bit of public support is what it really comes down to. And most of the funding campus comes through families. So they're between tuition and housing and things like that. And then it just really emphasizes the importance of the point that Brian made when he started here, which is that philanthropic private support that we get from all of you and other donors, and from companies that support Minds. That's really what creates the ability to have a Labriola Innovation Hub and a Beck Venture Center and a VIP program, and all the professional development work that Braylon talked about. Those are all really only a result of all of that other support that we get, that so critical to Minds. Well, I thought we would wrap up here in the home stretch with someone who is one of those students that supports the institution, and also is philanthropic and connected to the foundation and everything else. So he's connected to both sides of everything involved with Minds, and is also our new student trustee on the board of trustees. So Hayden, why don't you take it away and tell people a little about yourself and what you're excited about at Minds.
Thanks, President Johnson. There's a lot that I have to be excited about, and it's hard to know where to start. My name is Hayden Corman. I am a student. I'm beginning my senior year in computer science, and I have a minor in McBride Public Affairs. And I have the privilege of serving Minds as the student representative to the Board of Trustees. A little bit of a mouthful. Student trustee is the shorthand. On campus, I've been involved with undergraduate and graduate student governments, the Harvey Scholars Program, McBride, Res Life, Pascal Center, undergraduate research, the foundation, Kickstart, and somehow more. This year, in addition to serving as the student trustee, I'm working on some cybersecurity research at NREL, presenting some prior research at a conference, and interning as a software engineer at Northrop Grumman in their space sector. Despite all that, I still have the time to read, mountain bike, explore Colorado through my nature photography, and believe it or not, sleep. These roles would not have been possible without the support of people on this call, Minds faculty, staff, donors, alumni, and their dedication to holistic student learning. Student Minds are granted unparalleled access to so many opportunities, whether that be community service, leadership, athletics, creative outlets, and so many other extracurriculars, all on top of the fact that Minds offers world-class academics, these incredible industry connections, and a lot of research opportunities. Not only are Minds students wicked smart, but our students are also talented entrepreneurs, artists, leaders, and advocates. If a student wants to make most of their college experience, then Minds will make the most out of them. Take it from me, if there's something a student wishes to accomplish within their college experience, Minds will give them the resources, connections, and opportunities to accomplish it. So we talked about Career Day, and that is absolutely one of the most valuable connection opportunities that I have as a student. The Career Center staff bring hundreds of employers, graduate schools, and national laboratories each semester to campus to directly hire and network with all of our intelligent and talented students. Career Day is personally how I and many others have received their internship and full-time offers. And today, for example, myself and thousands of other students attended our in-person Career Day to meet with companies including small startups tackling crazy world-solving problems, Fortune 500 companies whose products are household names, national labs on cutting edge of research, and all of them are lined up to offer Minds students and upcoming graduates internships, co-ops, and full-time career opportunities. Another favorite part of Career Day is getting to interact with alums that have a desire to give back to Minds in this community. Having alumni participate in our courses, support our academics through financial gifts, mentoring us as we begin our careers, volunteering at different campus traditions and events, being at Ordigger Camp, and helping build connections through networking events are just some of the many ways that students like myself get to regularly interact with our alumni. Ordigger Network is a fantastic example and opportunity where alumni and students get to directly connect for mentorship opportunities that I personally benefit from. Students directly benefit in their education, career outlooks, and as individuals, thanks to the time, talent, and treasure gifted by everyone here in this call today. As a student trustee, I have the absolute privilege of working with leaders in the Mines community, many of whom are alum, on representing the interest of our future scientists, engineers, business people, creators, and leaders that will one day walk on stage to receive their Silver Mines diploma. I could not be more honored to represent such a talented, hardworking, and diligent community. If you're an alum and want to share your story, the Mines Foundation, I know, is looking to recognize outstanding members of our community through their initiative, Ordigger Stories. So Mines graduates, obviously, you're known for being hardworking and dedicated, but also solution-oriented. So we want to hear about how your Mines experience has helped you carry forward these, and so maybe some other trades beyond college. I'll be posting a link about that shortly. So thank you all for being here and your investment in the Mines community. With that all being said, I'm going to turn it over back to Brian.
All right, Hayden, thank you so much. I think we'd all agree that Hayden is just a tremendous representative of our great student body, and we appreciate all that he does to support Mines and advocate, and just is generally a wonderful person. So thank you, Hayden, for doing this, and considering how busy you are, especially. I assume you study in there somewhere too on occasion. Well, a lot of great questions have come in, so we'll get into addressing as many as we can. Hopefully, some of the questions have been answered through the panelists. Some questions have come in through the chat. And if we haven't answered your question or to the full extent that you would prefer, we're happy to follow up with you. Everyone on this panel is more than willing to engage in a subsequent conversation with you. Really, everyone is so great about being accessible. So we'll follow up as we can, especially for former trustee and current Board of Governor Tim Hadden, his question about financial health and the ROI on the parking garages. We will get back to you on that. Since Hayden kind of closed it out, wondered if between Paul Braylon and Hayden, you could talk a little bit more about the student experience, and in particular, Gail Meyer asked about what we're doing to ensure that graduates have leadership skills and the ability to plan strategically, and those kind of skills that employers are looking for. Don't all jump out at once.
Well, I can start off a bit, and then maybe Hayden can talk about some of his experience, because obviously he's taking a leadership position. But yeah, that's a great question. When I first got to Mines, and we spent a lot of time talking with alums and students and faculty and everything, we talked about what attributes are the things that we really value about our graduates, and which attributes are the things that we would like to develop even more than we currently do. Leadership was at the top of the top. Professional development, leadership were sort of like and business acumen, we're at the top of the list for the things we need to do. So we have been focusing on those. Braylon mentioned the VIP program. That's within a broader umbrella that we call our Pascal Center. And that by itself, its goal is to instill those things that I just talked about, the business acumen, the professional development, the leadership qualities, to try to infuse those across the whole student body through opportunities through what we call vertically connected communities. So delivering the programming through scholarship communities, through the athletic teams, through fraternities and sororities, through natural sort of aggregations of students, try to reach them where they are and deliver that in context. So obviously the nice thing about those communities is they have leadership positions. So you can work with students as they're taking on leadership roles. That's one way. Another way of doing that is we just last year we launched the Grandy Leadership by Design first year honors program. which was specifically created for first-year students to be focused on leadership. We've also launched the year before that the Groocock Scholars Program, which has another very heavy emphasis on leadership. And Hayden might talk about, there's a leadership component to the Scholars Program that he's a part of as well, with a little different twist on it. So Hayden, would you like to talk about how you and your fellow students develop their leadership skills?
Sure. And President Johnson, I think you've done a great job covering the vast majority of involvements. One resource that students have available onto them on campus is the SAIL office. So Student Activities, Involvement, and Leadership, which is a dedicated group of professionals that are dedicated to helping students find those kinds of extracurriculars. So they oversee all these student organizations on campus, fraternities and sororities, and a couple different organizations that make up a lot of the opportunities for leadership on campus. The VIP program, individual scholarships, also have a lot of really great resources. The Harvey Scholars Program, I think Hugh might be on the call. I have previously had the opportunity to serve on their leadership board, and they've offered a lot of opportunities for networking, community service, things of that nature. Additionally, Minds has really great support for professional organizations, whether that's specific to an individual major, like Association for Computing Machinery, for my major, or whether that is for underrepresented groups on campus, whether that's under the MEP House or WISEM, supporting SWE, for example. There are so many different opportunities, and the Career Center, people's RAs, peer mentors know that the importance to our employers and our industry connections of being that involved. And I think that additionally, I lost my train of thought there for a second, my apologies, but there really are just so many ways to get involved, and people really do understand the importance of it.
Yeah, well done, Hayden. And thank you for jumping in there. There are a couple questions. President Johnson referenced the Global Energy Future Initiative as kind of an overarching objective, bringing under one umbrella kind of all of the different areas that are Minds' sweet spot, really. And when you think about the direction of the university and the huge challenge of how to deliver energy to the world with all the different pressures and expectations, and our great history in oil and gas and mining, and we have the Grandy Nuclear Science and Engineering program on campus. There are a couple of good questions about energy, specifically nuclear energy, and how we're kind of tackling that. President Johnson, would you mind maybe expounding a little bit on kind of what we're doing across campus there?
Brian, specifically in nuclear or across the spectrum of things that you were talking about? Or
yeah, there's the question from John Griffith about design and materials for next gen nuclear reactors. A question about how climate change from Jerry Zink is affecting the industries we serve, and how we are being responsive to those challenges.
Okay, yeah, that's between those two, that's a pretty wide open range of things. I will say that just to sort of basically confirm the basis of the second question that you asked, that absolutely the industries that hire our students are being affected by the expectations of society for sustainability considerations and really sort of the roles that the various contributors to our energy mix play. So we're definitely seeing that. We definitely see it from the student side as well. So we have students who very much want to go work for Chevron, but they're also very interested in what Chevron, for example, is doing to expand its energy portfolio and what the renewable options are within that portfolio and things like that. So we're definitely seeing it from the both from the industry side of things as well as from the student side of things. And many of the industries that come here to Minds are actually the leaders in this transition. So the BPs and folks like that. So we're seeing that specifically on the nuclear side of things. It's interesting because you can certainly see in the discussions societally, people are slowly circling in on, you know what, there really is a role for nuclear in the future. And in fact, it really does need to be part of any sustainable and reliable energy mix. And so obviously there are various schemes for new types of reactors, both from heat transfer medium and the actual fuel sources and the infrastructure that goes into making that. And we have a nuclear program at the graduate level. We have students, in fact, my peer mentor student in my CSM 101 class, he's a chemical engineer, but he's going to go to graduate school in nuclear because he's very interested in pursuing that topic. So between the nuclear program, the materials programs obviously are relevant to this as well. Many of the things that other degrees do. So there is activity, and happy to sort of point more specifically to folks asking the questions where they could find that, Brian, as a follow-up.
Yeah, great, thank you. Lots going on and kind of a broad question, but appreciate the honing in on answering that question. There have been a number of questions about the size of the university, and I think President Johnson outlined the construct of Minds at 150 very well. The goal isn't to get bigger, but to get better. There was a question that came in about the graduate numbers are a bit behind target from Eric. Any thoughts around the future there and what our plan is to address that?
Yeah, so Eric, great question. And yes, you did read the numbers correctly. So we're, sort of relative to the original Minds at 150 plan, we're sort of like 700 students greater on the undergraduate side and probably 700 low on the graduate side of things. We are kind of in a period of time, it's very typical when the economy reaches a cycle where the job market is really, really good, that fewer students tend to go for their master's degrees. And so you tend to see a drop, sort of a negative correlation there with those things. But particularly the growth area that we were looking at the graduate students, we're going to be sort of non-thesis students and students who are very interested in certificates and stackable credentials. And so that particular group of people is very, at the end of the day, what they're very interested in is obviously the topic area, the reputation of the institution, but convenience comes into large play. And so we have been working pretty heavily the last 2 years on creating an online portfolio that people, right? So I saw there's another question about whether or not people can have access to things online and from various parts of the world. That's exactly what we're working on. We've actually created full content for, I think it's over 25 programs already. And we've got a couple more strategic ones that are in the works that we hope to have in the can by the end of this year. And those will be being launched through our Minds online platforms. So you can go there and learn a bit more about those. But that's sort of the strategy for boosting the graduate numbers at the moment, as well as sort of changing the things we offer in the portfolio so they match up with what people are interested in. People are very, even our alums who have been out there working 4 or 5 years, they're very interested in data analytics skills. So we have programs to provide those. They're interested in programming skills. We've got programs to provide those. So we're trying to make sure that we're offering those things that we're hearing that our audience is interested in having, as well as that we anticipate are going to be important in the future.
Thank you. There are a lot of questions around celebrating Minds at 150, our sesquicentennial in 2024, and we can, I think, address those. One of the things that we're trying to do, and this kind of coincides with the celebration of Minds at 150, is really broaden our reach with regard to promoting the university. This is a fantastic university, and I know all of the alumni on the call are very proud. We're proud to serve the university, certainly. And so there's an initiative underway to really get out the name of Mines and all the amazing things that we do. And to address one of the questions, there's no plan to change the name of the university. So we'll just tackle that one right there. But we do want to really promote the amazing things happening. And so as we celebrate, as we come to 2024, yes, we do have plans underway to have a year's worth of celebration for 150 years of Colorado School of Mines. There will be more to follow, certainly. We're about 18 months away or so from those celebrations starting, but we envision doing something in the spring of 2024 to capitalize on that senior class. And we also will do something in the fall around the homecoming time period of 2024 to capture those incoming students. And all along the way, we will be involving alumni. We want your participation, and the Mines Alumni Board will have a critical role in helping us to plan some of the activities for the campus and specifically for alumni. So we really appreciate your enthusiasm and asking the question, and we look forward to the opportunity to celebrate with all of you. With that, we're coming close to time, and President Johnson, give you a chance to any final remarks that you might have to the audience.
I was going to, Brian, but there's a question that came in at the moment that Kirsten and Braylon need to answer something.
Oh,
And there's one there about Mines Park, and will it be available for students next fall? And they're the two involved in that. So then I'll do a wrap up.
okay.
So great question. And at this point, Mines Park will be available, but what I will say is we are working on the plans that I mentioned earlier to really do some significant renovations to Mines Park, as well as to bring some new housing there. And so the timing of that, I don't know. But at some level, there will be housing at Mines Park for sure. We just don't know when we will be able to start the project. So not that certain of an answer, but we're still in midst planning and should know a lot more probably in the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, and I would only add that we certainly have heard folks loud and clear. They love Mines Park, and Mines Park needs some love. So that is certainly on our radar, and know that there's a lot of opportunity up on that piece of property as well.
Great, thank you. So Brian is okay then. I'll do what you actually asked me to do now instead of.
No, I appreciate Kirsten answering.
Yeah. Hey, I think just as a quick wrap up from my part, and maybe Hayden would like to say something as well as part of the wrap up, but I hope you all get a sense that there's a lot going on here at Mines. It's pretty exciting to be here. I know that I hope all of you get a chance somehow, sometime to just be here and walk across campus. Just like literally when I walk from Guggenheim, my office there, to the house on campus, just sort of going by and seeing what's going on around campus, and passing people and bumping and having some conversations, you just get this feeling that there's just a lot of good things happening here. There's a lot of great people here. Everybody's really excited about the future of the school and the future of the students that are here. That they're gonna, you just know they're going to go off and do great things. And I always tell people, whenever you're watching the news at night and it gets you down and you worry that the world's going bad, just come spend 15 minutes with a cup of coffee with a student here at Mines. I guarantee you're going to feel better about the world afterwards. So I hope you also get the sense that all of us here, Kirsten, Braylon, Brian, myself, Hayden, we're all really excited about Mines, and we're very proud to have the opportunity to be here. Only one of that group will ever get to be able to claim it as being an alum, but the rest of us are pretty proud of our time here as well, and really are excited by the trajectory of the institution, and really realize we couldn't do any of this without all of your help and participation and encouragement and inspiration that you give us. So come visit us, come to homecoming, come to a football game, just come to campus, and we'll show you around, and I think you'll be just as proud as we are. So Hayden, you got anything as a student and student trustee, anything to add to that?
Oh boy, I sure hope I can do you justice, President Johnson. But you know, what is an engineer at its most fundamental level, if not a problem solver? And you walk through campus every day and you feel the life of that. And you're walking through a group of some of the best in the world. You feel the energy, you feel the desire to create and explore. And campus is just coming to life right now, especially this time of year. But you know, Colorado has an incredible benefit of always being gorgeous, and our student population is always really excited to get to work. So always something incredible happening on campus, no matter what part you walk through. See what new buildings there are. See all the people out on Cafetar doing something for their classes, or slacklining, or hanging a hammock. If you just come to campus, you absolutely will feel it. And that's something I feel as a student every day.
Well, thank you, Hayden. I think Hayden's going to be just fine. I think we're going to see him do great things. There's no question. He's a pretty amazing young man. Well, thank you to all of our panelists, and thanks to all of you for engaging with us and for being involved. Thank you to the parents on the call for entrusting your students to us. Thanks to the alumni for forging the path for our current and our future students. We hope that we can continue to count on you all to spread the word about the great things happening at Mines, and to give back in support of what is truly a special place. You are the margin of excellence, and we really are grateful for your assistance. There are a variety of ways to get involved and to spend time with students and faculty, and we would like to grow the alumni involvement on campus, as President Johnson mentioned. So to learn more, visit our website. It was put in the chat earlier, but weare.mines.edu is a great resource. And it also has the form that Hayden referenced for alumni stories. The university's website is also a great place to learn more about all the cool things happening on campus. And so with that, thank you all and have a great evening.